The U.S. government plans to tighten the quota of H-1B visas for India, which has triggered a lot of discussion. The Indian government said that H-1B is beneficial to both India and the United States. Musk, Zuckerberg, and other technology leaders have also expressed different opinions on this. However, it seems that the decision is irreversible, and the Democratic alliance is not worth mentioning in the face of American interests. In fact, I can understand the starting point of the U.S. government. It is not as it appears on the surface, because Indian talents have taken away job opportunities for American talents. Instead, as I mentioned many times in the video, the U.S. technology industry is occupied by Indians, and its competitiveness is declining rapidly. If this problem is not solved, the U.S.'s technological hegemony may be completely lost, causing a series of serious consequences. Those Indian netizens who criticize me for racial discrimination in the comments section, why don't they criticize the U.S. government? Or, can your criticism change anything? I have never said that Indians are all boastful and have low working ability. I just stated that many Indians do rely on improper means to enter the United States, seek positions beyond their abilities, and cause serious damage to American companies and even American society. I have repeatedly called on Modi and Indians to cherish their reputation, otherwise India will be blacklisted by most countries in the world. In Canada, are there a large number of Indians with fake academic qualifications who enter the country through fraudulent means and then stay in Canada to work illegally? Are Canadians in many cities under the illusion that they are in India and surrounded by Indians? Is Canadian society increasingly reacting to the unfair business competition methods and frequent disruptions to public order of Indian immigrants? Aren't these facts? When a Canadian girl bravely exposed Indians defecating on Canadian beaches on social media, Indians did not reflect on their own quality, but attacked her for racial discrimination. Australia has a large number of Indian immigrants who enter the country through fake academic qualifications and guarantees from fellow countrymen, which seriously endangers other groups who try to immigrate through legal means. I didn't make these up, did I? You can't say that Canadians and Australians have been deceived by me and are hostile to Indians, right? My channel has been online for less than 2 months, and I can't bear such a huge responsibility. I want to ask Indians a few questions. 1. You think I took money from the CCP and specifically slandered India. Why did the CCP do this? There are a lot of white Westerners on YouTube comparing China and India. They describe India as a hell on earth and a shithole, but they greatly praise China for being modern, clean, and safe. If the CCP needs to fund a channel, why not go to those influential white Westerners instead of funding a faceless keyboard warrior like me? The CCP can buy off some Westerners, but can it buy off all or most Western self-media? Don't you know what image India has in the eyes of Western self-media? When Westerners filmed the dirty streets of India, you didn't reflect on why India was so dirty, but criticized them for not planning a trip well and not filming the rich areas in CBD. Is there something wrong with your brain that leads to such a strange thinking logic? Are the garbage on the streets of India and the floating objects in the Ganges put in by the CCP? Or, are the feces on your streets my excrement? 2. India is a superpower and China is declining. India is a technological power, and China's technology is all fake. So in this case, isn't it a good thing for Americans to reduce India's H-1B quota and let Indian talent stay in India? Your powerful technology industry can just accelerate its development. Why express dissatisfaction? Doesn't this just prove that the so-called IT power boasted by Modi and BJP is a lie? The Modi government prefers them to go to the United States and mail a large amount of foreign exchange back to India every year. If they all stay in India, India can't provide them with enough jobs. This also shows that the Indian economic situation is not optimistic. Otherwise, why would Western capital withdraw from India on a large scale? 3. Indians are smart and have high IQs. They get promoted through their own abilities, not by flattering each other or falsifying academic qualifications. The Chinese and American whites are disgusted with Indians because they are jealous of Indians. So what I want to ask is, why don't you Indians with high IQs stay in India to solve India's poverty problem? Why don't you help India build world-class software and hardware companies? The United States has Google, Microsoft, and Apple, and China has Huawei, Tencent, and ByteDance. What well-known IT companies are there in India? You can't even build your own country well, but you claim that you can build the United States well. Isn't this nonsense? Yes, once the Indian elites have the opportunity, the first thing they think of is to flee India and enter the United States, Canada, and Australia, because they know very well that India is a backward and hopeless country. Isn't this a real humiliation to Modi's Bharat revival scam? 4. India's scientific and technological talents help the United States maintain its technological advantage over China, and they have made great contributions to the United States. What I want to say is that if your heads are not on your buttocks, you will not say such things. Before the Indianization of Silicon Valley, American technology was far ahead of Chinese technology, and the Chinese did not even dare to imagine catching up with the United States, let alone surpassing it. After the Indianization of Silicon Valley, the United States lost its leading edge in almost all major technological fields and was even overtaken by China in the hardware field. The only leading project that the United States can show off is high-end chips, and the most successful companies NVIDIA and AMD are led by Chinese. The chip war is more of a civil war between Chinese people. Whether it is TSMC in Taiwan or Huawei and SMIC in mainland China, Chinese engineers are the main force. It took only 20 years for Indian engineers to destroy the American technological myth. China not only strongly challenges the United States in the IT field, but also makes the United States feel suffocating pressure in military and space technology. 5. The United States will regret rejecting Indian IT talents. I don't think so. In fact, most of the world's top IT projects are led by white people. In addition to the leaders of GNU/Linux, which I often say are all white, the leaders of innovative unicorn companies such as ChatGPT are basically white. A large number of white engineers cannot compete with Indians in large Silicon Valley companies, but they can play a strong technical role in the open-source community. Perhaps, as the U.S. government claims, when foreign talents decrease, American technology companies will provide better job treatment for these top white talents and let them return to the competition with the Chinese. Let me give you a simple example. China's Huawei company hired a Russian technical expert at a high salary. The management only heard that he was very good, but didn't know what he was busy with every day. But the Chinese gave him trust and never interfered with his work. Until several years later, he announced to Huawei's leadership that he had mastered 2G technology. Yes, this one technical expert helped Huawei complete the most primitive accumulation of technology. In addition to India, there are many countries in the world that have IT talents. We won't mention China. Russia and Northern Europe are countries that produce IT gods. It's just that people in these countries don't have the Indians who will fabricate academic qualifications and flatter each other, so they often cannot obtain important positions. Now that the United States and India have fallen out, I think it's good. Let time prove everything. Finally, I want to say to the Indians, if a country wants to gain the respect of others, becoming strong is the only way. Even if Indian CEOs occupy the United States, as long as India is a poor, dirty, and backward country, Indians will not gain the respect of any country. On the contrary, people in other countries will think that India is a hopeless country and a big joke. Even the Indian elites don't want to stay in India. I'm just a keyboard warrior. All my criticisms of India will not cause any real loss to India. But you can calm down and analyze whether my criticisms make sense. If you can build India into a safe, clean, and modern country like China, do you still have to worry about others' slander?